John Cranton, going to take a look at the NFC West Preview 2012 for the NFL. And last year it was a division where the 49ers came out of nowhere, won it easily. Does the NFC West have more surprises for 2012? Well, we'll start with the 49ers, the defending division champs. Their over-under for wins is 10. This is a team that went 13-3 last year. They did it with new coach Jim Harbaugh, who came in and brought a physical, rough, tough defense and a power running game. And boy, did it work. And he reports out that he's been running a very tough minicamp this offseason, so expect more of the same from a very talented and all-around dominant San Francisco team. Defense is really the backbone of this unit. Tops in the NFL against the run last season, 77.3 yards rushing per game. They were 16th defensively against the Packs. Solid all around. You got all-pro defensive tackle Justin Smith up front and 22-year-old linebacker Aldon Smith with his 14 sacks. The offense was not balanced last year. They were 8th in rushing the football, but 29th in passing. So while the defense is loaded, this offense was one-dimensional. Can they change that? Well, the ground game is going to be fine with running back Frank Gore and backups Kendall Hunter, plus newcomer Brandon Jacobs from the Giants. It's the passing game that could use a deep threat. And boy, did they make some changes this offseason. They bring in wide receiver Randy Moss, Mario Manningham, and they re-signed Ted Ginn Jr. So all of these three guys have potential deep threat outside wide receivers. And yet there's also question marks with them. Moss didn't even play last season, took the year off. Manningham is a nice piece, but he's not a top receiver. And then Ginn, he's just too inconsistent as a wide receiver and struggles with his inconsistent play. Now you take a look at the schedule for the 49ers. Three of the first 4 games are on the road. They play at Green Bay, home against Detroit. Then they're at the Vikings and at the Jets. And then they end the season with 4 of 6 on the road at New Orleans, at New England, included in that. But still, they should win this game easily. Keep in mind, the 49ers, they're on a 9-4 run under the total and 12-5-1 against the spread. Now, in second place, we're going to put the St. Louis Rams. This is a team that over-under is just 6 wins for this season. They're off a 2-14 season, but we think they can be second best in this division. First of all, they're probably going to have better health. They was decimated with health injuries last year. Plus, they bring in Jeff Fisher, the prized coaching commodity in the offseason, while the Rams ended up landing him. This is a guy who knows an awful lot about coaching and motivation and knowing how to win. Now, most teams that are off 2-14 seasons are rebuilding from scratch. That's not really the case with the Rams. There's a lot of good pieces in place, starting with quarterback Sam Bradford. And this offseason, the Rams went out looking for a lot of talent, trying to get younger and faster, and they did it. They added free agent cornerback Cortland Finnegan. They added Kendall Langford, Scott Wells, wide receiver Steve Smith. And then in the draft, they got a bevy of talent. Nose tackle Mike Brockers, wide receiver Brian Quick, safety Janoris Jenkins, running back Isaiah Peed, and wide receiver Chris Givens. Now, offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, he's out. He was a guy who had loved to throw the ball deep, but his deep threat passing game really didn't work with the Rams. But they bring in new offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer. This is a guy who likes conservative, more ball control and run-oriented attacks. It's probably better suited for the Rams personnel. He likes to throw the ball to the tight ends, keep with ball control. Plus, he's got an ace in running back Steven Jackson, who, despite injuries, had over 1,000 yards last season and is easily a workhorse back. They got the defense for the Rams. They do have some emerging pieces. Linebacker James Laurinaitis, defensive end Chris Long, and Robert Quinn. Plus, they add Mike Brockers. He's a nose tackle from LSU, the number 14 pick in the draft. Now, the schedule for the Rams, it's really not easy, particularly in the middle part of the season. They play 4 consecutive games against the Packers, Patriots, 49ers, and Jets. But they also have winnable games against Seattle and the Cardinals, 2 games apiece, as well as the Redskins, Dolphins, Vikings, and Tampa Bay. We would project them to go over 6 wins. They're also on a 3-12-1 spread run. That is also a bad run that's going to end with a guy like Jeff Fisher in charge. And there's the Cardinals. Look at them for 3rd place in this division. Now, their over-under is 7 wins. This is a team that was 8-8 last year, but it's very clear what happens with the Cardinals. 6-2 at home, but 2-6 on the road. Overall statistics, not very impressive no matter how you slice it for Arizona. 17th in passing yards on offense. That's really the best thing they have. 24th in rushing the football. So how did they win 8 games? Well, they had quarterback Kevin Kolb, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And John Skelton, 11 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, completed just 55% of his pass. These two quarterbacks combined for a whopping 53 sacks behind a below-average offensive line. They do have running back Beanie Wells, who just got over 1,000 yards, but still, this is a pass-first offense with a suspect O-line. They are very deep at wide receiver, as usual, with Larry Fitzgerald, 1,411 yards, and they pick up rookie wide receiver Mike Floyd from Notre Dame. He was the number 13th pick in the draft, plus Geno Crump from Arizona could be available for the X spot. And this team did not have a second-round pick. Could have used it to help this defense, which is very weak. 17th against the pass, giving up 231 yards passing per game. And they were 21st against the run, giving up 124 yards. Nose tackle is one of the positions which the coaches for the Cardinals want to see more production from. They may have found it with Dan Williams keeping his weight and health in check. That'll be a key. They also have cornerback Jamal Fleming. He was drafted in the 3rd round out of Oklahoma. Cardinals surprisingly come into the new season on a nice run. 5-1 straight up, 4-2 against the spread. That's how they ended last season, including wins over the 49ers and Cowboys. Really, when you look at the 8 wins they had last year, all 8 were by 7 points or less. And the schedule is not friendly for the Cardinals this fall. They're going to be playing the Patriots and the Eagles in September. And then they got road games this year at St. Louis, at Green Bay, at Atlanta, at the Jets, at the 49ers. And even the home schedule is not easy against the Lions, Bears, 49ers, and Bills. Really, there's no gimmies with this Arizona schedule. I would look for the Cardinals to go under 7 wins. Finally, you get the Seattle Seahawks. They're also over-under for 7 wins. This is a team off a 7-9 season. A lot of weaknesses on this club. Offense, 22nd in passing, 21st in rushing the football. You had Tavares Jackson last year with 14 touchdowns, 13 picks, not an NFL quarterback. He was also sacked 42 times. They also tried Charlie Whitehurst. And that's why what you're going to be looking for the Seahawks for this fall is a change behind center. Most likely there'll be quarterback Matt Flynn, who they signed from the Packers. And there's also quarterback Russell Wilson. He was a rookie, played at Wisconsin last season. So you've got 2 guys who should be in there. But overall, the Seahawks allowed 50 sacks behind a below-average offensive line, despite the fact that Marshawn Lynch had over 1,000 yards. Seattle did add some experience on the offensive line, signing Frank Omiyale after he was released by the Bears, who also needed offensive line help. And they had former first-round pick Alex Barron. But still, this is still a suspect offensive line. The defense was decent statistically, 11th against the pass, 15th against the run. Pete Carroll seemed to have gotten the most out of the unit. They gave up 33 points, though, in the opener last year to conservative San Francisco. They also lost 24-0 at Pittsburgh and even 30-28 to the Falcons. And then if you look down the stretch, Seattle faced a lot of offensively challenged teams, including the Bears without Jay Cutler. They played 2 games against the Arizona Cardinals, the Redskins, Rams. So this defense is probably not as good as the numbers suggest. Now, the team does add a couple of linebackers, which was surprising draft picks. Bruce Irvin out of West Virginia. He was the 15th overall pick. And then linebacker Bobby Wagner in the 2nd round out of Utah State. Keep in mind they're on a 7-2 ATS run coming into the new season. And the schedule, the Seahawks play 5 of their first 8 games on the road. And the schedule's not easy. They're going to be playing Dallas, Green Bay, New England, the Jets, at the Bears, and at the Bills. Can't see them getting over 7 wins. Seahawks under 7 wins for this season. And remember, if you're looking for more NFL previews and college previews, you'll find them right here on this website, jimfeist.tv. Can't wait for football to get here. Enjoy the games.